reason I actually went here was Cutlet had went to Space Cutlet on Twitch. If you guys don't know Cutlet, had been going to the asteroid belts and said every single asteroid belt had like 50% gold in every single rock that he found. And I was like, that's gotta be placeholder. And I was like, let me just check again. And now it's like, okay, they did something, and I found raw ice. What's that? What is happening?
Yeah.
So,
has it been your experience when I looked? It was my experience, but has it been your experience that the rocks in general in Pyro have been more valuable, just straight up?
I have not looked. This is my first like really taking the time to look. So
the amount of Vex, Tyrannite, Ironite, Titanium that I found has been way higher and more consistent in Pyro than in Stanton.
As in higher percentages in the rock.
Alright, so we're gonna go look at something that was on the store. I don't remember if we're at Loreville or not. I don't think we are, but... Or no, we're not at Loreville, Everest. I think we found a decent uniform. But I would say that when the game comes out, we might be able to earn a blueprint to craft the armor that will be the uniform and then change the material or the color, which would be good. But on the subscribers store, there's
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle
a
retrieval
red and
system.
black version that isn't Hurston Dynamics. And I'm curious if that would be decent for like...
Please visit us again.
a solid, like, squad leader or second in command type color, you know, like if you, remember like Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and you had, the troopers that had like colored arms and stuff, colored stripes. So we could do like a colored uniform. Why is my cutlass in here? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. This is the NPC cutlass that we had the other day. So that means... Did they fix persistent hangers? Because this isn't my personal hanger. This is... Is it because I came back on the same server? I tried to keep an NPC ship in my hangar for days, like not too long ago. But the difference was I would leave the ship in the hangar and then I would get into a different ship and fly off. And then I would come back the next day to my main personal hangar and the ship would be gone. And everyone online was telling me that the ships were staying in their hangar. And I was like, how's it stay in your hangar if it disappears when I try to do it. Does it still work? It's been 2 or 3 days. So I'm very interested to why this is here when it wasn't.
Hello and welcome aboard your Drake interplanetary craft. Your systems are online.
Yeah, that's crazy. That gives me even more reason though to not buy a cutlass and stuff, because if this is getting fixed, I can find a cutlass pretty easily.
Engines online. Launch complete.
That's why, like, I've been a very big fan of the Crucible, and I kind of would want to get 2 Crucibles, but kind of a big deal.
Landing gear up.
So at some point, if I remember this week, I will try and when I get back from work or whatever, probably like Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll try and test, see if we can capture an NPC ship, putting in my personal hangar. We'll try and test and see if it stays there. Maybe it got fixed. Maybe I'm just like on the same server and I got lucky. I don't really know. But yeah, because the persistent hangar, like your personal hangar,
Quantum drive.
since I have an extra large ship,
Quantum drive is now off.
which honestly, thinking about it now, when I get rid of my reclaimer, I might lose my extra large hangar. But because it's kind of a big boon if you start the game with an extra large hangar, I think, because you have way more storage space. Like, personally, I think everyone in the game should start with an extra large hangar to some degree, but instead of having smalls and stuff for everything, because there's potentially a big advantage to having an extra large hangar when the game comes out, because if you can capture ships, you could store them in the hangar. And we've already seen, like, this extra large hangar when we come down here. Actually, we can test the NPC thing today, because this is an NPC ship. So we'll land at our personal hangar, and then we will do our armor stuff, whatever, and then I'll log off. When we come on tomorrow, if the ship is still in the hangar, then this might kind of work. But at that point, if it's in the hangar, then I'll ask someone for a ride like I did in the past. I'll fly away from where I was. I'll log off. And then I'll wait, you know, I don't know, 10 hours or something. Come back, like, let's say Monday. I'll hop on, try to hitch a ride, and then I'll log off. And then I'll come back, like, Monday night or Tuesday or something. And we'll see if that ship is still in my hangar. Since I'm already here, it just makes sense. And also, now since we're interested in this uniform and making something for the org, I need to stay in this area anyway to farm and get items. Try to get uniform items. So it's going to be kind of interesting. What's also kind of funny, though, is that the uniforms that I'm kind of picking out I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be able to find a blueprint for like the Crusader security helmet at any point, but we kind of got like a Star Wars vibe forming a little bit in the like the Navy side of things. Not so much the ground troops, but like the Navy. Because the uniform I'm wearing is basically like the Marine Corps or whatever.
Warning, you are leaving a safe zone.
But the Elite Crusader
Warning,
security
gear
armor
down.
is going to be more of the like the Navy type of stuff, like people that run and operate ships. But you see this right here? Extra large hangar, and we took a Cutlass Black. Looks like I got a damaged engine. But you see, you take a Cutlass Black, you got an extra large hangar, and then you know, just gotta land it. And you can see that when the game releases, so I might have to look into keeping a reclaimer anyway, because I'm fairly sure, unless the Liberator, I don't know, because like the Carrack is a large ship. The Liberator might be bigger. So if we can get an extra large hangar with the Liberator, that would be nice. Considering that it has, what is the let me just look it up real quick, I guess. So the Hercules is a large ship, size 5 large. Reclaimer is a capital, size 6. So the Hercules, size 5, I would assume the Liberator is going to be a capital, but I think it's still slated as a large. Because the Liberator has way more size than a Hercules, I would assume. But it's still slated as a large. I don't see, how can this... There's no way it's, like, dimensions, 67 meters, length 119. .67 width, length 119. So I mean this, I mean it's wider, but it is way shorter. Width 120, length 160. Yeah, they're making it seem so it's like super narrow and really long. And half the height of the reclaimer. Like the reclaimer isn't it's shorter than the reclaimer. That's really hard to picture because the reclaimer is, I mean, it's big, but it's not massive, you know? It's, and this is saying that it's going to be 40 meters shorter. So basically like a reclaimer with the back end cut off, which doesn't seem like it would be very big. And then 76 half of the width of the reclaimer. So it's basically the reclaimer size without the legs attached to it. How does that... There's no way that can be accurate, right? So this is shorter than a reclaimer and not as wide as a reclaimer. And then it's longer than a Hercules, but not as wide as a Hercules. But the Hercules can fit a tank. The Hercules can fit like 2 tanks. And a length of 70 meters. But then you have pictures like, hold on, let me see. Star Citizen, Liberator, how many tanks fit? I know there's a post somewhere. I don't know what the deal is with, I mean, this isn't what I was looking for, but like when I'm on my laptop or my phone, my Google searches are completely different than what's on my desktop. But you see, like, they put 6 ballista up here, but there's like pictures. I know there's a Reddit post with pictures of tanks on top. And there's like 6 tanks or something per section, like, which tells me that it should be wider than the Hercules. I mean, granted, that is the Hercules cargo area, so maybe it makes sense. But I have a hard time believing that this is that small. See, like, this isn't even like the picture that I saw online. There's something from a couple months ago that was on Reddit, and it has pictures of tanks, and it has like 6 tanks on each upper pad and like 3 tanks in this lower area. And you can see, like, right here, it kind of looks like 2 or 3 tanks would fit on this lower pad. And then you have a tank literally right here. I mean, this isn't in Star Citizen stuff, but I'm assuming it's scaled or something. But you have a tank right here, so it'd be like twice as long, like twice as wide as a Hercules. And then you have 400 SU of cargo capacity on the side. You know, you have these sections on both sides. It's like 2 separate Cutlass command modules strapped together with a bay in between them, you know? But like maybe it is still large, but if we lose the extra large hangar, I mean, it isn't going to be the end of the world, but like kind of sucks in the grand picture of things, you know? I still like this idea as well. If I wasn't a fan of the Terrapin, I would do this, but Also, I don't think this is realistic because it's very, very tight fit. And if the ship becomes damaged, you'd have problems. But I mean, this would give you a lot of upper firepower. So, like, if I didn't care about having terrapins around, I would definitely put like a redeemer on the front of this thing. But yeah, this so much firepower. Like even that, you know. One Liberator's like half the size of a Kraken. Or like this whole section here is like the size of a Liberator. Kind of nuts when you think about it. Like basically these 4 landing pads are the equivalent of one Liberator. Big ass gravity generator as well. Like the Legionnaire is even too like really tight fit. See, like stuff like this. Like this is a really old one, but this isn't even as big as that last picture that I saw. But like if this 6 tanks in the front section, granted nobody could get out, so they'd be stuck there the whole ride, which would suck. But like it's a lot of tanks. I mean, they might be able to get out. You like load some in the back, park whatever direction the door's at, get out, walk around, pull up, leave like a small gap. But I have a hard time believing that's that small. But if you look at this, you know, this NPC ship that we're in, forgot I can't use the doors. I gotta like use my keybind. So, but you can see like in an extra large hangar starting the game, if you're able to capture NPC ships, you're probably going to be fighting pirates fairly commonly. So I would assume like small fighters and things and like Cutlass Blacks would probably appear at some point. And they probably won't be very great quality or anything, but if you could capture those ships, you can see just how many I could park here. Like I could easily get 3 right here in this square. And so you're looking at like 6, 9, 12, probably like 24 Cutlass Blacks that you could just chill in your personal hangar. Which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, if this thing persists in this hangar while I'm logged off, then maybe they fixed it. But the weird thing is that hangar was, first off, I tried to spawn a terrapin, and a terrapin didn't show up, so it kind of feels like a bug. But that hangar also is not my persistent hangar. I just logged off on the station there, which is like a whole other deal. But this, I mean, you're looking at $100 and something right here that you could just capture in game. And in the fleet, like when the game comes out, probably this is what's going to supplement our Air Force for the most part and our transportation. So you're looking at needing, you know, 4 to 6 of these when the game comes out. Kind of a big deal. It's basically like a mix between like an Osprey and an attack helicopter. I'm fine with it. I really want to buy some of the furniture as well, just kind of like see, because like the Pisces, for example, I don't remember, it was like Salty Mike or one of the YouTuber guys that said, like the Polaris, that you couldn't like fly people down, like you couldn't use the Polaris as like a regular day-to-day ship because you couldn't move 10 people to the planet's surface or whatever. But if those chairs can latch themselves to the cargo grids, technically a Pisces could hold, or at least sit down, like 6 people in the back. So you're looking at anywhere like 5 to 7 people in a Pisces. Drop off a squad of 6, have 2 guys with backpacks, the other ones without backpacks potentially. But in any case, this is the essentially like a second in command. To a squad. We'd have either, you know, 1 or 2 of these potentially in each division. I'm thinking that 1 squad of Marines. So the base Marines would have just like a regular helmet. Okay. This gives us heavy armor on the chest, heavy armor on the head, solid all around, you know, profile, and then medium armor on the arms. But this particular armor kind of gives us that more sleek, modern kind of military look for the most part. I'm more inclined to wear an armor like this than like something more bulky. And Star Citizen is kind of a unique game because, like in a game like Tarkov, for example, I would prefer just to have chest armor, maybe head armor, maybe not head armor, and then maybe like a light armor on my arms and legs because I wouldn't expect to really care a whole lot about my arms and legs. But since you can't guarantee that you can like instantly kill people because some people are more tanky than others and they're bullet sponges in the game, I think that you need more protection for your limbs when it comes to direct combat. That being said, I still don't expect players to be aiming at my arms all too often. You know, so if you get hit, you get hit. But this right here gives us medium armor on our arms and legs, and then heavy armor on our chest and head. And I think it's a very solid look. The colors match really well. The golden stuff is a little bit, you know, much, but maybe at some point we'll be able to change the color of the metallic, the metal if we get like a blueprint or something. So I think this is really solid. And you also kind of get that, you know, semi Dorito look when you look at it. I like it because the leg armor and the arm armor kind of looks like a flight suit or like an undersuit. Sup, Das? It looks like a flight suit or an undersuit, and then it kind of, you know, has the chest armor as its own separate thing. And then potentially we want a squad of 3. So each squad of 3 would each have their own guy that has this helmet. And if we go from Citizen Con, it kind of seems like this helmet will be like a tracker helmet, able to find and like report life forms and signatures. So it would make sense to have at least one guy in a small group be able to kind of see things. So either one guy in a group of 6 with these, or 2 guys in a groups of 6 with these would be really good. And then we need someone that is able to lead the squad. So you need a squad leader, and basically we're doing like a squad of 7. And we are looking at a subscriber armor, or not a subscriber armor, a store armor. So there's 2 separate armor sets that you can get. And hopefully all of this stuff will stay fairly compact. I don't really care if any of this stays. I want it to be at the end of the list though. So we're gonna put all of our armor in here. So you can see the legs and the arms are their own separate armor. So like the temperature rating is like -61 to 91 on this, and then the flight suit has its own armor rating. So I don't know if those stack or not. It'd be kind of interesting to see. But essentially we have the red Artemex from the store. Wrong pants. And I was kind of curious what this would look like. So it's still the same sort of like look. But what's also kind of interesting about this to me is that the chest and the head kind of looks like a flight suit, sort of, with like a rebreather mask. So I'm wondering if there's like some combination of armor that we could use with that to like make it look decent. But then we also have like combinations of gear with this armor set here, which would be kind of interesting to have. So, I mean, even that looks kind of interesting. Also, Hurston has a lot of pollution and stuff, so it kind of seems like it's a filtration system. So, let's say theoretically, you know, our Marines, let's say that we decide to use an Artemex helmet instead of the regular helmet. We go medium armor. It's quite possible that in a situation you might be able to just pop on an Artemex chest and have like an air filtration system, which I kind of like the idea of. But if we take something like this and we put the regular Artemex arms that we had on before and legs, just because I was curious with this, not too bad. I mean, it isn't perfect. These colors don't fully line up, but it isn't terrible either. But we also still have the camouflage color here. So we could still technically put on like a helmet that's not necessarily matching the armor itself and still kind of match because of the side camouflage here. So I like that possibility as well. And then the red does pop out pretty good. Now, if we try and do... Let's just go ahead and put this backpack on. So we got the red and backpack. And then we want the red Artimax legs. And then we want the red Artimax arms. So with this, we have... Apparently the legs don't want to stay. Let's just pop that on, and then pop these on. This gives us a lot more red. And then let's grab the helmet. I don't think there's any... So let's grab the, if we have room for it, we'll take this helmet as well, and then we'll take... I'd be tempted to do an Artimax core, but essentially this could be kind of an officer, kind of like the leader of your squad. He would pop out in a color a little bit, have red, and then like a more elite unit would have basically your squad leaders like this. And then above this, you would have somebody in a white or somebody in a different armor set that would be kind of the leader of them. Kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. And this armor really isn't that bad looking. But I don't know if we would need these bush drift helmets or not. So easily I could see just something like this. The base helmet that comes with it. Seems like a pretty solid look. And then we also could potentially have just a regular Artimax helmet. Since he's a squad leader, doesn't necessarily require that he has, you know, the same helmet design as everybody else. Could be a little bit different. But I also like the idea of having an Artimax helmet, even if it's medium armor, because let's say that like someone shoots some like chemical warfare at you, you just pop on the Artimax medium, boom. You got the little ventilation tube, you're good to go. But I also don't like the idea of having like the same set on as everything else. So we're already looking at 32 to 40 Marines for the most part. If we did 40, you'd have 6 squads of 6, and then you would have 4 team leads. But we'd only need 3 team leads, basically, team leaders. So you'd have 3 guys in red. Because you would have 6 squads of 6. 4 of those would be base uniform. 2 of them in each squad would be the recon guys with the helmet. This thing. And then you would have your squad leader guy, who would also have potentially that. So you'd have each squad leader would probably be over, or I mean, you could do 6 squads and 6 squad leaders. So you'd have 7 guys per squad. You'd have 2 of these guys per 14 people. And then you'd have 1 guy who is the commander of everything else. So basically you'd have 15 guys that you'd put down. You'd have the head guy, which would be wearing whatever armor that he's wearing. You'd have 2 of these guys, which would be leaders of individual squads. Then you'd have 2 guys underneath him, which would then be able to lead 2 separate groups of 3. And then, if you wanted to separate, you could have your base squads separate into 4 groups of 3, and then you could have your squad leader and the head guy separate into their own individual group of 3. I think that would be pretty good. Now, as for the helmets, I'm not opposed to this one. It does give us kind of that tracker look. It does still kind of fit in with the camouflage, but it's still kind of on the fence for me. And then this one is still kind of... I'm not sure about it, to be honest. But you're also looking, if you have 2 squads, you're going to have 8 normal base standard Marines. So where is my snippet tool? New. Actually, cancel that. We need to get rid of that. Alright. So let's do this. Do a snippet tool. File. Save as. Okay. Okay. Fuck. Thing keeps messing up. Alright. So it also means that you could separate your groups individually as well. So if you have 4 Marines and you have 2 group leaders, or wait, hold on, let me think about this. That wouldn't be 4 Marines. You'd have 4 Marines per group, so you'd have 8 Marines, and then you would have 2 of these guys and your main group leader. So you could also tell your guys to hunker down and control an area, and then just push forward with your more experienced guys, your leaders, instead of the Marines. Kind of risky, but if you had really good FPS players, sometimes the guys with the most experience in games have to lead the way. And so I could see that being a thing. And then essentially whoever's in charge would have to put one of these dudes as second. And it would have to go down the line from there. Potentially, we could even let people choose their own helmet, maybe, for this role. I don't really know. But I like the idea of having color-coded things for specific people. And that would give you a rank system when you're going into the, the game and stuff. Let people have their own autonomy when it comes to combat. You send in a group, you send in 15 guys, they get their ass kicked, and then they come back. But also, like the Liberators, for instance, they have 32 armories on each ship, I believe. Or 32 lockers or whatever, or basically 32 jump seats between the two of them. Don't know how many lockers necessarily that they have, but I could easily see something like having 2 squads here, because you're looking at 14 lockers, I believe. We have to go back to the Liberator picture. Is what they had listed there. Oh, so you got 8 storage lockers and 8 suit lockers, and then you have 6 suit lockers up top, so you got 14 suit lockers. So, those 14, you would have 2 squads of 6. And then you would have 2 squad leaders. And then you'd have your main leader. So it lines up basically perfectly with the amount of people that we want. So these 8 suit lockers would be the 4 Marines. So you'd have 4 Marines, 4 Marines. These 4 lockers would be your 4 kind of group leader guys. And then you'd have 1 dude underneath. Am I thinking about this right? You have 2 groups of 6. And then you'd have 1 other guy. God, hold on. I'm hurting my brain real quick. Give me a second. 4 Marines, 2 guys to be over groups of 3. Then you would have 1 guy over that group of 2. Yeah. So you'd have 12. 13. So you'd have 13 people, basically. So you'd have just enough lockers for all of that. You'd have your base Marine guys down here. You'd have your 2 group leaders, your squad leader. It says 6 suit lockers up here. It's 14 suit lockers. Why aren't these numbers adding up in my head? Four Marines, 2 bug-eyed guys, 1 squad leader. That's 7 guys. So you could have 2 groups. You'd have 2 guys in red. Okay, hold on. So you're going to have 4 Marines on either side. That's what's fucking me up. Then you're going to have 4 squad leaders, or 4 group leaders either side. And then you're going to have 1 squad leader. And then you'll have 1 spare locker. Which could be like a special unit, maybe a ghost or something. Nice to have a spare locker, but that is basically, it's interesting though, because I really need. Hold on, let me just like visualize this real quick. How much time do I have? Paint. So you got dupe, 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 and then you're gonna have dupe, dupe, and then you'd have dupe. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you're going to have dupe, 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 dupe. 7. So that's 14. And then you're going to have dupe. And potentially a dupe. And that gives you 2 groups of 7. And potentially 2 guys here. Which I guess it could make sense that you would have a spare. So this could be a sniper, overwatch, maybe a second in command to the primary person. So the chain of command would go something like this guy gets killed. And then it would bounce to this guy. That guy gets killed. It bounces to like one of these guys. This guy gets killed. It goes to this guy. This guy gets killed. It goes to this guy. And then it would just keep going down like that. But also it means that these guys can form a group of 3. These guys can form a group of 3. These guys can have a group of 4. You could have a medic in here potentially. Have one of your guys in your squads as a medic could be interesting. Or maybe this guy's a medic. I guess it could make sense that this guy could be a medic, or that one of these guys could be a medic. Yeah. Hmm. I like the idea of having one of these dudes as a medic, to be honest. Problem is, the only armor that we have that could fill that role right now is the one that we wanted to use for the Navy guys on the ships, which technically those guys are going to be medics as well, so yeah. I guess the real question is how many medics do you need? Because right now, this would be, if we made this person a medic, that'd be 1 medic over the whole thing. But I prefer this guy to be a sniper or something. We have 2 medics, then that seems decent enough for the group. But that would mean that the chain of command, basically you would have to make a medic able to run autonomous, like basically by themselves. They wouldn't need anyone to support them. Which it would make you have a group of 5 with a medic. Which 5 is about the biggest group that I would want for the most part. But I think that still works because then you'd have squad leader, or this guy who would be able to lead a group of 2, and then this guy that could lead a group of 2, and then you'd have a separate medic on top of it. So that would make more sense. Yeah. So we'd have to, like, basically you post an enforcer into each individual group of soldiers. And with 2 liberators, we'd essentially have 2 groups of these. So you'd have 2 stealthy sniper guys, you'd have 4 medic guys, you'd have 4 second in command dudes, you'd have 4 squad leader guys, and then you'd have 2 leader guys, which are going to wear whatever kind of armor fits the situation, it seems like. Seems good to me. Say that. This is the weirdest save that I've ever did, honestly. Squad groups for Marine. Cool. Sounds good. Now the other armor that we need is the Crusader Elite Armor.
And another task complete. I have finally farmed myself a new Crusader Elite Security Armor. With it, I have... And another task...
Now, question with that armor is going to be what we pair with it. So, snippet tool, new. Save as. Let's see. Forcer / medic. Cool. All right.
Complete.
And we're gonna hop off right here probably. Might play a little bit, but I gotta get ready for work. So y'all guys have a good one, and I'm gonna end this right here.